Hello. Let me know if you can hear me. I am seeing in the chat Diamond Lock Productions and Treeman and Roz and Scooter and Hi J Vice, I think is how you say that. And Tridale and Andrea and Awake Ache and Catharsis, and earlier I saw Zane and Gyre of Forgotten Lore or Gyre of Forgotten Lore, I'm not sure which. And Arid, and I think I saw somebody else, let me just check. Oh no, it was Tridale. Oh yeah, it was Tridale and Treeman. Hey guys, how you doing? Let me get the scene up. And then transition. There we go. So, how are you guys? How you been? I am a little sleep deprived because yesterday was my birthday, and it's not like when I say it that way, it automatically sounds like, oh, I was out partying all night. No, it's far lamer than that. I ate cake too late in the day and was on a massive sugar high, and that kept me up all night. So, not exactly the most exciting reason to be sleep deprived, but there we are. So how are you guys doing? Now you may be a little bit quiet, especially compared to the opening song, but you're coming in clear. Yeah, the opening song is very loud. I don't know why that song in particular is as loud as it is. Oops, I didn't mean to go that low. There we go, 20%. I don't know why that song is so loud. I thought it might just be on my end that my headphones was making it very loud, but I guess it's just that song, for whatever reason, is like super bass boosted. That was Realm of the Dolphin Overlord. It's like one of my favorite C-punk songs ever. However, sadly there's not a lot of C-punk music out there. It was popular for a hot minute, and then it became like mainstream very, very quickly, and it's almost like the second that happened, everybody lost interest, which sucks because I really like it. I really like that style of music. Oh, everybody's saying happy birthday. Thank you. How old? Older than you'd think. Let's leave it at that. I am 3 days older? No, 3 days younger than Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps. Let's put it that way. Is that the genre? C-punk, yes. It is C as in ocean, punk. And it's kind of like vaporwave, but it has a lot more like steel drums and a lot more tropical sounds. It uses a lot of ocean themes. It'll use like sounds of bubbles and sea creatures and things. There's a little bit of it out there. There's like an album that was put out called Now That's What I Call C-Punk that has like a good bunch of songs, and some of them are really good. Not all of them, but some of them are really, really good. But like I said, and then it went mainstream. I forget who it was. I don't think it was like Rihanna or something, but like a very big pop star made like a C-punk song, and it's like the second that happened, it just died instantly overnight. Sounds clear and level to me on my phone? Okay, great. It's time to make SpongeBob music. SpongeBob music is more like, I think what SpongeBob does is, SpongeBob is inspired by like Elvis movies. Elvis had a very like box office hit, I suppose you could call it, called Elvis and Blue Hawaii, and I think that's what SpongeBob's going for, especially because the narrator is supposed to be a parody of Jacques Cousteau, which I don't know if people are even aware of that. I think most I think most people, like millennials and like Gen Z kids, I don't know if they know who Jacques Cousteau is. So I don't know, but there's a bunch of SpongeBob that's like weird references like that. So I think like the hula music is a reference to Elvis and Blue Hawaii. I think. I'm not sure. Been trying to catch your streams. Why do you think Adam Sandler movies are negative to his audience? Oh yeah, I had some people ask me that. Before I get into it, I will answer your question. I just think that we should pick who I'm drawing today so that everybody has something to watch while I speak, because I can just start going and not stop talking for like an hour before I realize, oh crap, I'm supposed to be drawing while I talk. What are we drawing today? I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm still deep in my adventures with Superman. I called it like my adventures with Superman hell. It's not that bad. It's a very lengthy process because unlike High Guardian Spice and Velma, I think I said this in the community post, those shows, you can cut out a lot of fat, like unimportant scenes, unimportant pieces of dialogue. With Velma, I basically cut out every single time they made a pop culture reference as a joke. Well, joke, quote unquote. I cut all of that out because it wasn't relevant to what I was trying to do with that video. So even though they were like still an hour long per video, I could cut out a lot of fat and focus in on the important talking points. The problem with My Adventures with Superman is the episode by episode writing is so all over the place in quality. It'll have like a really good scene and then a scene that is absolute trash. So I almost have to cover more of what happens in the actual episode than with the other two shows to try and communicate how all over the place the writing is. Because it's not like there's a bad episode or a good episode. All of the episodes ping pong around in quality. So I find myself having to cover and deconstruct more of what's going on, because otherwise I give like the wrong impression that this is a good episode or a bad episode. So it's turning out to be quite a lengthy process. Anyway, like I said, I am talking when I should be drawing. Let's get that done. Oh, people are saying Nyan Neko Sugar Girls. Do you guys really want me to draw Nyan Neko Sugar Girls? Because I will. I will absolutely draw Nyan Neko Sugar Girls if you guys want me to. I'll draw it in like an actual style though. I'm not going to try and match. I think her name is, it's Soap Opera? Is it Soap Opera or Soap Opera Lover? The original artist. I forget. I'm not going to try and copy her art style. I'm just going to do like my art style. Okay, everybody is saying yes. Okay, so should we draw Raku-chan? Or, I know people are saying Hitoshi-san. Or should we draw Koneko-chan? Open up MS Paint. No, I'm not going to do MS Paint because I'm very bad at MS Paint. Apparently, MS Paint has introduced layers, but I think it might only be in Windows 11. Which I refuse to upgrade to. I'm like holding off upgrading to 11 until I absolutely have to. Why not both? Maybe. It depends how far we get. Like, they're not super involved designs. Nyan Neko Sugar Girls. Let me get some reference. I have to get reference so that I accurately draw Nyan Neko Sugar Girls, you know. Heaven forbid I draw them off model or anything like that. Okay, I'm seeing Awake Ache really wants me to draw Hitoshi-san. And of course, the very first thing that comes up when I Google Nyan Neko Sugar Girls is a bunch of Rule 34. Let's use the other search engine, please. I don't really want to see that. Luckily, I can see my preview here, that you guys aren't seeing a lot of it. Okay, here we go. Actual reference and not R34. Nyan, ro. The proportions better be accurate. I kind of want to draw, it's Koneko-chan, right? That's her name? I'm confused because Koneko means kitten. So I'm not sure if that's like a real name or if I'm making that up. I think it's Koneko-chan. Because I know it's Hitoshi-san because, no, it's Raku-chan. It's Raku-chan. Raku-chan is the main character, correct? Like I said, Koneko is the red hair. Thank you. I get very confused because Koneko is an actual word. Like, it means kitten. So I'm like, am I making that up? Am I going insane? Is there a character called Koneko or am I just getting confused? And then because Raku-chan is like the ultra kawaii one, I'm like, she must be Koneko because it means kittenness. Like, no. Nothing in this show makes sense. Why would the cutesy kawaii one be the one that's called Koneko? Doesn't that mean, no, I'm confused. I was going to say, doesn't that mean rock? But no, it doesn't. I forget what rock means. I do know the word for it, but I can't talk and stream and try and communicate with chat and remember what the Japanese word for rock is. Like stone. I don't mean like rock music. They are all the kawaii one. Good point. Do that. Yeah, she's got like a round face. Because like, if I have to like interpret the Nyaneko Sugar Girl style into something understandable by mortal eyes. Raku-chan is kind of like the cutesy, kawaii one, and Koneko-chan is supposed to be like the older, cool one. I guess, like, that's how I would try and interpret them. So Raku-chan would have like a slightly rounder face if we were going to use a more conventional art style. Koneko is cat. There is also, where did I see it? The messages. No, there it is. There it is. There's also a Koneko character in High School D&D. I never watched that, but I think Koneko is kitten specifically, because neko is cat, and ko is the suffix for, like, the young version. So, like, onna is woman, so onna no ko is, like, young girl. So, koneko is kitten, specifically. I just realized Raku-chan has, like, a massive bust. So I'm going to have to deal with that in terms of proportions. My brain is going to be like, that's not what human proportions look like. And I'm like, I know. That's what Raku-chan's proportions look like. Just deal with it. I'm drawing her quite big. Let me make her a bit smaller. Am I on keep aspect ratio? There we go. Paintbrush. A lot of this show is up to interpretation. True art. You know what? That is true. It's a very contemplative show. It makes you question all kinds of things about your life while you're watching it. Okay, I'm gonna have to make this a little bit smaller because, again, she's got kind of like more childlike proportions. Which my brain automatically is like, no, those are wrong. She's supposed to have a smaller head than that. Because for a very long time, when I was a teenager, I would draw characters with like their heads being far bigger than their bodies. I think a lot of people do that when they start drawing when they're like teenagers and stuff. And I mean like not pre-internet teenagers, but when you were like, when the internet was on dial-up and there wasn't as much exposure to other people's art. So even though you're a teenager, your art doesn't develop as quickly as it seems to do. Like, I see the art of teenagers today and I'm like, how the hell are you getting this quality and you're like 14? But anyway, back in the day, when I just first started drawing, I would give characters like really big heads compared to the rest of their bodies. And it took a lot of like concentrated effort through a lot of years when I started doing art more seriously to like unteach myself to draw in those proportions automatically. So now it's a little difficult to go back to drawing quote unquote wrong proportions. Put this shoulder here. Put this shoulder here. I'm going to bring this hand up here because if I put this hand up here, it's going to block her face. So like that. And I'll put this one here, so she can be like that. And bring this down a bit. She doesn't really have hips. Again, as far as my mortal eyes can interpret the art style. Because, you know, it's just so far above my meager understanding, you know, like my ability to comprehend it is just difficult because it's so advanced. it's so much higher level than my brain is used to operating on. But as far as I can tell, she doesn't really have hips. I tend to give my characters wider hips. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of like, I'm a big fan of Lilo and Stitch and specifically Chris Sanders' artwork. And I've looked a lot at his style guide for how to draw Nani. And he has a lot of emphasis on weight being at the bottom of figures. So I don't know if that's why I just instinctively give characters wide. Actually, do you guys want to see that? I'm very all over the place today. If you've been here before, you know I tend to mellow out as I stream. But at the beginning, like all my thoughts are firing and all cylinders. And I'm like, oh, look at this, and look at this, and also look at this. So let me see where it is. It's not in the Tarzan folder. Production art, I think it is. And development. Scroll down, because I know it's at the bottom here somewhere. Here it is. Where's the one he did for Nani? Well, there's this. Here we go. So he has this one where he's just talking about her general design. See, like this here where he's talking about the torso proportions is super interesting, because he wants you to specifically take into account, like he wanted the animators when they were doing Lilo and Stitch to take into account belly and womb, and not just like belly. And I don't draw like this. I don't draw like this level of sophistication in my anatomy. And it's because I tend to be a little bit more simpler, but it's also something where I'm like, maybe I should try that when I'm a little bit more adventurous, because it could be quite interesting. Here's the page I was thinking of. No, it's not. This is the one on shapes. Where's the one on weight? He's got this one on hand poses. Here, it's this one. See, here, where he's talking about just the weight specifically of characters. Like, this I highly internalized. Just like his opinion on drawing weighted characters, with the weight being at the bottom of the character. Here as well, he talks about it. Where he talks about placing the weight at the bottom. And yes, Chris Sanders, he really likes drawing like pinup girls, which is perfectly fine. So there is a little bit of like that aspect coming into his design sensibilities of, making girls look nice. But I think it's a worthwhile style guide to analyze and look at, even if you are not somebody who specifically focuses on drawing pinup girls or girls in that kind of more sexy style. I think it still gives a lot of valuable information. See, her chest is going to have to be much bigger than this. I am not good at drawing girls' chests whatsoever. Even to this day, after much effort, I'm still not great at it. I might have to move her over a bit. Let's hide this for now. This hurts my scoliosis but tickles my art. Yeah. He has some other art. I'm not going to show it on stream because a lot of his girls he likes drawing topless, which, I mean, fair enough. But YouTube might not like it. But a lot of his pinup girls are worth looking at because they're very nicely drawn. Like, the man knows what he's doing. I met him at Comic-Con a few times when I was visiting there. He's really nice. He's like a super cool, just chill, laid-back guy. He told me when I was talking to him, this was a few years ago, I was saying to him it was really surprising to find him on DeviantArt. And he was like, oh no, DeviantArt's cool. But he says one thing that happened to him is some child's mother tracked down his DeviantArt and gave him like so much grief because he draws pinup girls. And they're like, you draw for Disney. How dare you draw, sexy women. And it's not even like explicit stuff. And he was just like, okay, fine. Why are we drawing Lilo and Stitch? No, hey Sode. No, I'm just showing the design sensibilities of putting weight at the bottom of a character design. And how I'm thinking that might be, because I've studied these so much, it might be why I have a tendency to draw characters with wider hips. Because I think that's where it comes from with me, but I'm not sure. Okay, turn this down. Let's actually start drawing, because I'm fiddling around with the guide layer, the gesture drawing, when I should be doing that in the sketch layer. Do this. There we go. Oh, and I'll color it just so I know what I'm doing. There we go. He likes girls mainly topless. Let me actually see if I've got some of his art. I've got a few of his sketch diaries. Again, his art's really nice to look at, just in general. I really enjoy his art style. Do I have any of them saved? If I can't find them easily, I won't faff around for too long because you guys can't see me scrolling through my folders, so you're just staring at a blank Clip Studio Paint file here. Chris Sanders, where is your work, sir? I don't think I saved it here. I think I saved it in art. I can't find it right now. Anyway, he's very good. I recommend looking up his art that he did just for himself. It's really good. And I enjoy his design sensibilities. Do you think you will give Meta Runner a look? I'm not familiar with what that is. You know what I have to start watching? Like actually, as in it's a crime I haven't yet, is I need to start watching Dungeon Meshi. I think 4 episodes are out already and I haven't gotten time to watch them yet because I'm too busy watching whatever nonsense comes past me on YouTube. And I have not had time yet to watch Dungeon Meshi, and I think that's terrible. Like, that's something I need to get on right away. Nyan Neko Sugar Girls? No, no, I've watched Nyan Neko Sugar Girls multiple times. Don't worry. She put out a new video recently, not the COVID awareness one. There's a new one that she put out. Oh, that's what it was. Somebody posted it on Tumblr. She put out a drawing of Raku-chan and Koneko-chan as Walter White and Jesse from Breaking Bad. It's really good. I need to scale down this eraser. It's really big. There we go. It's better. Okay, let's see. Okay, she has really big eyes. Oh, so Adam Sandler, sorry. Again, if you're new here, I have very obvious ADHD, so I'm sorry about that. I was speaking to my friend, because me and my friend were watching the Leo movie together, right? And my friend works in Hollywood. They work as a, like an extra, but like an on-screen extra, if that makes sense. And they've been in a few music videos. They were actually in a music video that Jonin Vasquez made a while ago. So they are a little bit more familiar with like the Hollywood scene, and they've got a closer connection to movie making. You know, I'm an animator. I am more used to working behind the scenes on productions, but they have a much more on-hands relationship with film. And they said that they find Adam Sandler to be very damaging to movies as a whole. And their big problem, besides all the ones that you can make regarding like treating your audience with level of intelligence and understanding that your audience are, for the most part, intelligent, emotionally aware people and treating them with respect. That's part of it. But my friend's big complaint that was on a much more practical level was that Adam Sandler, his movies being made, eats up resources, and I believe they meant mostly like human resources. It eats up resources that could have gone to far better film productions. And Adam Sandler, as a person, he's apparently like really nice. And from what my friend tells me, I can't be too specific on details because I don't want to get them or anyone they know or are related to in trouble. But they were saying from their experience and secondhand experience, Adam Sandler's a nice guy. He's genuinely just a nice person. But the level in which he makes a lot of his Happy Madison films, there is a lot of disrespect to the art of filmmaking and just the fact that he is making something to be consumed by actual human beings. And he doesn't treat his audience with much, not sophistication. There is a lack of sophistication, but there's a level of disrespect there, it almost feels like. And it's not because it's a dumb comedy, because I enjoy a dumb comedy, you know. I grew up and I'm a big fan of Airplane, the movie. I grew up with Naked Gun. And even though it isn't as good, I watched Wrongfully Accused as a teenager a lot with Leslie Nielsen. I like a dumb comedy. But Adam Sandler has boiled down dumb comedies to being extremely formulaic. Like, I used it quite a bit in the Leo review, where I would have that screen from Red Letter Media where Jay has just the breakdown of what happens in every single Adam Sandler movie, and Leo hits every single one of those points. Like, you could almost play bingo with it. And comedy, in my opinion, or in my subjective point of view, a lot of comedy comes from the unexpected and creativity. You know, if you want to be funny, you have to be creative in how you're funny. And so Adam Sandler's humor is so by the numbers and, for lack of a better word, unintelligent. There's a difference between making stupid comedy and making unintelligent comedy. And it's so, I don't know. It's treating the audience like idiots. Like, I'm making slop for you guys to eat up because I know you're going to consume it regardless of its quality. Like, that's how it comes across. And then you have, like I said, my friend was very upset by the eating up of resources that could have gone to better projects, and the time and money and production could have been used on other things that were like made by people who actually want to make a movie. Even if the end cause by producers is money, a lot of people working on the ground, they want to make good movies. They want to make movies. You know, they're there because they love making movies. If they weren't there because they enjoy making movies, they'd get another job in Hollywood. I think I might have his eye too far to the side, but we'll see. Because again, Raku-chan's eyes are so big. But yeah, that's kind of what I meant by it damages its audience, because it lowers the collective expectation that the audience has for what should be in a comedic movie. It brings down the standard on a large scale, because I don't know, because my family and the people I know are not like this, because all my friends tend to be like cinephiles to a certain degree. But I don't find that people outside of like that kind of interest watches older movies. And by older movies, I mean like films that were made in the 90s and before. It's not even that old. So they don't seek out actually good comedies if they aren't being made. And at the moment, good comedies aren't being made by Hollywood because Disney has kind of turned Marvel movies as these all-encompassing genre movies. So you don't get straight comedies anymore. You get Marvel movies that include comedic moments. So people don't have exposure to what a good comedy looks like because they actively don't really go and look for older good comedies. And then you have somebody like Adam Sandler who puts out mainly comedic movies. And then people think, oh, I guess this is just what a comedy is. And it's like, no, this is so not what a good comedy is. Like, that's a big part of it as well. And again, it probably only matters to like people, I guess like me. It feels like such an egocentric way to put it, but like people like me. But people who actually like really care about movies and care about the cinematic landscape, that's very frustrating. Yeah, I made this eye enormous, but that's kind of what it is. It's just another fan. What are we drawing? We are drawing the greatest anime ever made, Nyan Neko Sugar Girls. But I'm not even going to attempt to draw the magnificence of the canon art style, so I'm just kind of drawing it in my own art style. Especially because it's difficult to kind of chat with chat. And then, sorry, I'm hiccuping because I'm drinking Coke. And then try and cultivate like an interesting art style. Like, I would love to draw Raku-chan in like a more traditional anime art style. But I can't chat and draw and talk all at the same time and then try and do like a style challenge. My brain is not equipped to do that. Coppola coming out with a big sci-fi this year. I hope it's good. I don't know he was still making films though. Because, and that's the other thing, I think we were talking about this last time as well. It's rough because I really like Ridley Scott. I really enjoy a lot of his movies. But then he made, what was it, Napoleon? And apparently it wasn't great. But even worse, in my opinion, is it is horrifically historically inaccurate. And the other thing you might not know about me is I'm a massive history nerd. Like, I really like history a lot. I'm actually going to shrink this eye. It's bothering me. I really like history a lot. And I don't like when people just throw away historical accuracy because it's inconvenient to the story they're trying to tell. Like, I'm not saying every single movie should be 100% historically accurate, right? Because Gladiator is not historically accurate at all. Nothing about Gladiator is historically accurate. However, Gladiator is an amazing movie. It's also Ridley Scott, actually. And that's fine. That's a perfectly fine thing. I'm not going to complain about that. But Napoleon is about Napoleon, like Napoleon Bonaparte. That's what the movie's about. So you can't be wishy-washy with your historical accuracy in a case like that. I'm actually going to give her much bigger arching eyebrows because she's kind of like a gremlin character in a way. But anyway, my point is, so Ridley Scott made a film like that, and it's kind of shaken my faith in these much older directors coming out and making a film again, because I'm like, should they be doing that? Isn't it better for them to just kind of rest on their laurels and leave it at that, almost? Because I'm scared of what they decide they'll make if they decide to do a film again. So that's why Ridley Scott comes up in that analogy. Which is sad, because again, I love Ridley Scott. The Martian is like one of my favorite movies. I love The Martian. It's so good. Napoleon is well documented. Yes. Oh, I see. Yeah. I mean, if it was Vampire Hunter Napoleon, who'd care if it was historically inaccurate? Exactly. It's like... And it's even worse because, again, I was talking about this last time. There's the movie from 1970 called Waterloo. And Waterloo is 3 hours long. It's an extremely exciting and fun movie to watch. And it is so painfully historically accurate. There's one line of dialogue where it's contested whether it was said or not. And by that, some people say it happened and some people said it was said, but the person who actually said the line of dialogue was like, I never said that, and everybody said, bullshit, yes you did, I heard you. And that's like the one part of Waterloo where people are like, that part's historically inaccurate. So it's rough when a movie already exists that put in the effort and is like, hey, it can absolutely be done to write a movie about Napoleon and keep it accurate. So the fact that Ridley Scott was unable to do it, whether he just didn't feel like doing it, that's almost unacceptable, especially because he's Ridley Scott, so you kind of expect him to do better, if you know what I mean. Ridley Scott is hit or miss, yeah, which is a shame. I feel he's much more hit than he is miss, but his misses are a little catastrophic. If nothing else though, his misses also tend to look very nice, at least. Like, Prometheus is a terrible movie. Prometheus is a movie, I saw it in theaters, and I had a great time watching it because it was so awful. I was laughing so hard in the theater. It was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. But if nothing else, Prometheus is gorgeous. It's such a good-looking movie. Okay, let me do her mouth shape and actually pay attention. Like that. I might actually make this eye... like all the way. Yeah, there we go. Much more like that. I need to actually one day experiment with... because I like drawing characters with very wide eyes when they're smiling and just kind of make the cheek push up against the eye here. But I should one day actually attempt to draw an expression where the eyes crinkle when a person smiles. I don't know why I never did that. I think just because I like drawing eyes, so I don't want them to be small because I want to draw them and I want to draw them big and sparkling. I don't know much about Napoleon, but I heard the movie makes him like socially awkward and wins war for his girlfriend. Yeah, no. It's sad when Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure has a better version of Napoleon in it than the movie called Napoleon. Although, make no mistake, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is weirdly historically accurate in many ways that it did not need to be. Like, they did not need to put that much attention to detail in the friggin' Bill and Ted movie, but they did. Things like they actually had Joan of Arc B-14. They had all the characters that were like from other countries speak exclusively in the language that they spoke, like... Socrates only speaks Greek in the movie, and Joan of Arc only speaks French, but Sigmund Freud actually speaks English, and it's because Sigmund Freud could speak English in real life. There's a lot of little things where it's like, guys, you really didn't need to pay this much attention to details like that, but they did. And again, it allows me to say things like, wow, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is more historically accurate than the movie that's actually titled Napoleon. How do you feel about Gladiator 2 coming out sometime soon? Considering the way the first Gladiator ends, I won't spoil it, they would have to follow a different character. So it's probably going to be like one of those sequels that isn't actually a sequel, where it's called the same thing, but it's about a different character with a different story entirely, and doesn't actually have anything to do with the original Gladiator. So, I mean, it's okay, because it means they won't really harm the original story much. So I suppose that's fine. If nothing else, it means if they get it's Frank Zimmer, right? No, it's Hans Zimmer. If they get Hans Zimmer back to do the music, I mean, that will justify the movie existing completely. Like, just having more of Hans Zimmer's like Gladiator score, absolutely worth making an entire movie just to like be a vehicle for that, because the score for the original Gladiator is fantastic. Bill and Ted is insane with its history, but then again, they did have to pass that grade. Yeah, for real. It had to be historically accurate, otherwise nobody would buy that Bill and Ted got their history, I almost said degree. It's not what it was. They got an A on their history test. I suppose, like, the time travel was fine. The utopian society brought together under the power of music was fine. The time traveling phone booth was fine. All of that was fine. But if the history wasn't accurate, nobody would find this movie believable. Like, that's where the line is drawn. It's like, no, we have to make it historically accurate, otherwise nobody would find this believable. You see, her head is quite small. It should be much bigger. Hide these guys here. At least for this art style. That's very big, especially if I'm going to add her hair. I suppose. It kills me a little to have it be that big, but here we are. Nolan has purchased and owned Zimmer as a slave. Oh no, really? That sucks. Well, I mean, Zimmer technically, in enormous quotation marks, came back for the live-action Lion King. Live-action in enormous quotation marks. Zimmer worked on that film, so I suppose he is allowed to work on other films to a certain degree. Actually, I'm just going to draw her chest as an oval before I try and tackle giving her bust, because again, I'm very bad at drawing girls' busts, so this might be a little bit painful to watch, but I ask you to bear with me. It's one of my big weak points with art. You have not watched any of the Bill and Ted movies? You need to change that immediately. The first Bill and Ted movie, I watched it for the first time in 2016 or something. It is legitimately one of my favorite movies of all time. It is so good. It's like embarrassing because it's like, I don't cry at media. The only things I've ever cried at is Mass Effect 3's ending, Nier Automata's true ending, and the freaking Bill and Ted movie. And specifically, it's for the scene with the song In Time, which I can't play because it's copyright, unfortunately. But like that scene, it's not even a sad scene. It's just because it's so optimistic and it's so hopeful for the future that it's like emotional. Why am I giving her all this detail on her anatomy? It's like emotional just to see how optimistic and like positive that movie is. And it makes me super emotional. And I don't know why it hits me that hard, but it really does. Do this. Normally I would put a little bit more attention to anatomy here, but We're drawing Raku-chan. I don't need to try and put that much detail into what the anatomy is doing. Actually, I'm doing this the wrong way. It's this way. This is lower than this. Nier Automata sure was something, dude. Like, when I got the true ending, I did the true ending where you have to shoot through the credits, and it was super hard. So I had to ask for assistance because I'm very bad at bullet hell games. So I asked for assistance, and I got the assistance, and I did lose a few people who offered their assistance. If you haven't played Nier Automata, the asking of assistance is other people who willingly they willingly told the game that I am willing to help other people trying to finish this game. I am giving permission to be my character, my name, my on-screen name, to be brought in as a bot to help this person in the game. And I had to ask for help because I'm bad at bullet hell games, and I lost 2 people while doing the end credit shooting section. And then when I got to the true end after beating the credit section, and I saw like what that ending entails, I don't want to spoil it if you've never played Nier Automata, and if you plan to, which I highly recommend. When I got to the end and like the certain revelations were made, I was absolutely destroyed emotionally. I was sobbing so hard. Hey, Hobbs. It's kind of a cool mechanic. Yeah, I'm being vague because there's more to it than that, but I don't want to go too deep into detail because honestly, you should play Nier Automata. It is an absolute masterpiece. It is such a good game. Do that. You can see I've been drawing Commander Shepard because I like try and give like more accurate anatomy while I'm drawing her. And it's like, no, you don't need to go that detailed with where the hips lie and all of that. We're drawing Raku-chan, we don't need that much detail. I gave her really adult body proportions. Oh well. Hey Jose, or is it Jose? Or Jose? Have you heard Superman versus the KKK Radiohead or read 2019 comic adaptations? No, I haven't. I said in the first Superman... Sorry, hiccup. In the first Superman review, I'm not the biggest comic book reader. Not for lack of trying. It's just not something... Well, that's a lie. I am a comic book reader. I'm not much of a superhero comic book reader. And it's not for lack of trying. It's just I can't get into it because of the style in which superhero comics are written. It doesn't really work for me. Yeah, I am a big comic fan because like Bone by Jeff Smith is one of my favorite things ever written. I'm a giant fan of Usagi Yojimbo. I really like the Scrooge McDuck comics. I've got Mouse on the shelf there. I don't know whether one can really say you're a fan of Mouse. Mouse is something everybody should at least read once, but only once for certain people. I've got Fun Home up there by Alison Bechdel. I like comics. I'm just not the biggest fan of superhero comics. How old are the non-Nyeko Sugar characters even supposed to be? I'm not sure. I think there's a wiki that lists it. I think Raku-chan is 16. I don't know. I'm just guessing because that's one of like the default ages that people often give anime characters. It's like 14 and 16. Those are like the most common ages for anime girls in general. I think this forearm might be a bit big. That's fine. Well, not big, long. Yeah, it's a bit long. Okay, hold on. Bring this back a bit. There we go, that's better. What do you think about Hazbin Hotel's first 4 episodes? Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually thinking, when people were asking me about the Hazbin Hotel new series, I very automatically said, oh, that's something I would absolutely consider doing for the channel because I think it very much ties into the kind of things I cover, right? I think it would fit in very well with the kind of topics I talk about. And then I started seeing on my dash people talking about, first of all, Vivzy herself, like the creator, and the kind of fan base that Hazbin Hotel has. And I was like, uh-oh, I don't know if it's a good idea to throw my hat into that ring or not. I don't know if that's like good for my health, if you know what I mean. And whether that's just something where it's like, maybe just leave that alone. Don't touch it with a 12-foot pole. Just stay out of it. But I might cover it because I think it would make for a very interesting topic, especially as this idea of taking a piece of indie animation and then seeing how it changes when it gets picked up by a studio to be done in a more professional atmosphere. And I think there's a lot of interesting things you can talk about there. Because as I said last time, I didn't want to cover Hazbin Hotel as an indie project because I don't think it's very constructive to tear down an indie animation project as if it was a professional project that had all the resources that a professional project usually has. That's kind of like punching down. It's being mean for no reason, even if you're not really being super, super aggressively critical of it. It's just, you can't expect the same level of professionalism from an indie animation. You just can't. It's unfair to hold it to that level when that's not what it is. However, now that it's been picked up and it's being distributed as a professional product, I feel it is perfectly okay to criticize it as I would any other professional product. So I thought it would be interesting to have that discussion about indie animation and going to a more professional level and comparing how the animation quality looks from its indie side to its more professional size. And it would give me the opportunity to talk about things like the character design, which I think is a very interesting topic of a discussion, and all of that. And then again, I was reminded of the kind of fan base it has, and I was like, I forgot. I forgot what kind of fans it has. And because, like, I'm not, like, a rabid fan of it, the pilot, the indie project, it wasn't really to my taste. I did watch it. I had problems with it. I didn't think it was bad. I just felt, well, this isn't really for me. There are some things about it I could criticize, but it's good. It's a good indie animation project, right? Especially in, like, the art design. But I'm not a big fan of it, nor am I somebody sitting here going, oh, this is the ugliest, edgiest, most hot topic cartoon of all time. Like I'm not an active hater of the show or its creator either. I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I just want to evaluate it as a piece of animation because I like animation. So unfortunately, that would open me up to a lot of rabid fans, I feel, almost from both sides, but more the like diehard stans. Like the kind of people who they don't really, they're not really able to, I don't want to say handle because it makes it sound very condescending and that's not what I mean. It's people who have heavily emotionally invested in the show and the characters, and so they see criticism of the show as an almost personal attack because they've invested so much of themselves into it, right? So they really struggle when they see people criticize it because it feels like the person criticizing it is directly criticizing them and criticizing their taste and their level of like the quality that they like watching, which, I mean, that's not what I'm doing, but that is a problem where a fan is so heavily emotionally invested in something that they can't handle any kind of criticism whatsoever. And so when they come across criticism, they lash out violently because it feels like a personal attack. And it seems like Hazbin Hotel has a very large audience of people who do have that level of emotional investment, where I don't want to say it's an unhealthy degree. I feel like the attack part is the unhealthy degree, like don't attack people. But to be that emotionally invested, I'm not going to criticize that because, first of all, it would be rather hypocritical of me. There are lots of things that I love. I got a Mass Effect tattoo in November. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, it's kind of cringe to be that obsessed with a piece of fiction. Like, no, that's fine. I'm not going to criticize you for that. But the, like, aggression and the tendency to attack people, like, verbally and just send a lot of hate messages and things like that, I just kind of don't want to deal with that. And I feel like when it gets to that point where you're that upset that you are actively attacking people, like that's when it becomes a problem. It's not your level of investment. It's just your level to ignore criticism to the best of your ability, right? Because I really like Mass Effect. I don't like seeing people criticize Mass Effect. I don't like a lot of the game theories about Mass Effect. I really hate those because a lot of them are very bad and don't take into consideration any kind of character writing or story writing or like how a plot is written. But I block those videos. I have an extension on my browser that allows me to just not see things like that. Like I've got an extension just so that I don't see game theory in general, because I find not so much game theory itself, but its fan base very aggravating. So I just have an extension where it doesn't get recommended to me because I'm like, I'm never going to want to watch a game theory video again. I did before FNAF became a thing, and no, it's fine. I'm not going to go out there and like verbally attack people for not liking Mass Effect or saying the ending was garbage or having like all these conspiracy theories about what the real ending is, like how there's like conspiracy theories that Final Fantasy VIII is basically Jacob's ladder and it's also a really dumb theory, but people have similar theories for Mass Effect. I think it's very stupid, but I'm not going to verbally attack people for that. And I feel if people are like super emotionally invested in Hazbin Hotel, that's kind of sadly the approach you need to take. Is if you're getting that upset about people criticizing it, you need to somehow find a way to disconnect and not see that criticism. Whether you block people, whether you use a YouTube filter extension just to filter out certain videos, things like that. But a lot of people don't. I don't know why. Maybe they just don't know how, or they don't feel like it. Or they feel they have to defend the thing they like. That's also possible. But I had a point, and I rambled on for so long, and I forgot what my point was. Anyway, I am just concerned about if I were to make just kind of an analysis of Hazbin Hotel, even if it's not even scathing, even if it's just kind of very, this is what I think, I have a feeling that a lot of fans will come down very hard just because they'll see, oh, it's a video criticizing Hazbin Hotel. And that'll just set them off into like attack mode. But I am still considering it to a certain degree. It's not like I'm writing off the idea of covering it. I just have to weigh in like, am I willing for the possibility that I might get a lot of angry comments from people who do not really want to see criticism of the show, right? Like that's a factor I have to keep in mind. It's like an extra part to putting out a video of like being aware that that is a very high possibility. Like that is something that needs consideration if I decide to cover it. MatPat, from what I've seen, isn't really a bad guy, even if some of his videos are cringe. My issue is not with MatPat as a person at all. My issue, I guess, is a strong word, but my problem is a lot of people looked at a lot of MatPat's theories and took them as canon, and then went to other artists and writers in the fandom, and then would say, oh, you can't draw it like that because, you know, it's canon that this, and this happened. And it's like, no, it isn't. That's just something MatPat said. And it's like, no, but it's canon because MatPat said. I'm like, no, it's just something MatPat said. It doesn't make it canon. And that's like got very tiring very quickly, where a lot of MatPat's fans just took his words as like gospel. And it's really, really frustrating, especially as somebody who was, and still is to a certain degree, big into the Undertale fandom. And it's kind of a nightmare. So many people try to cancel Hazbin Hotel for saying bad things are bad. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. That's the other thing. Like, from what I've heard, a lot of people are doing the, like, completely oblivious to media literacy thing. Oh, a better way to say that is, this is such a reductive way of putting it, but you'll know exactly what I mean. A lot of people are doing the Steven Universe thing. You know, if you know, you know. A lot of people who are screaming about how bad Hazbin Hotel is on a moral level are doing like this Steven Universe thing, like when they were criticizing when that show came out. And I don't even like Steven Universe. I tried to like it. I watched 70 episodes before I gave up. But wow, some people had to like dig deep to find like justification for how much they hate Steven Universe. Like, it wasn't just enough to be like, I don't like this show. They had to find, like, something morally reprehensible about the show itself or its creators to, like, justify why it's terrible. And it's like, dude, it's fine to just dislike something. It's perfectly okay just to not like something. Why do I have all these layers? What did I make this layer for? I guess I was talking, I just made an extra layer and didn't pay attention. Oh well. Undertale fandom. When somebody gives an artist a cookie with a needle in it because the artist drew an Undertale ship they did not like. Yeah, there's a lot of that. It's a much more chill now, but that was a big problem back in the day. Oh god, yeah, I forgot about how people got upset when the homophobic person in hell said something homophobic. That's, I'm like, I'm not cringing. I want to use that word, but I'm laughing. If that makes sense. It's like that kind of cringe where you're sitting giggling because it's such a stupid thing to think or say. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's like something you'd hear in a, a Mel Brooks movie. Okay, thumbs on the inside. Okay. Will the Mass Effect stream continue? Yes, it will. I am still struggling with my bed frame. I'm having the handyman come in on Wednesday. He's going to alter it for me so that I'm finally back, like, on my bed, because I work on a laptop, right? I don't really have a desktop setup. That's why I'm on my bed. It's just, you know, why sit at a desk if I'm using a laptop? So I have to get that sorted out, because at the moment I can't even play for myself, because where I am with the mattress, I don't have back support whatsoever. So I can't really stream playing a video game because it would just like physically kill me. It would ruin my lower back. So I 1000% am going to continue. I'm just waiting for things to get sorted, like physically, in my room, because I don't have anywhere to sit and stream from properly right now. If you went to your last stream, I accidentally bought a mattress that was too big for the bed frame. So I decided to keep the bigger mattress, but now I have to get the bed frame altered. It's a really stupid comedy of errors. It's really dumb. It's like, why is this my life? The handyman, I guess, what else do you call it? The carpenter? I suppose he's a carpenter. He makes things. He takes wood and you ask him to build things and he makes them. I need to ask him, at some point I want to ask him to help me to build another bookshelf, because I once again bought too many books, so I need a place to put them. Apart from the accidental 32 Agatha Christie novels. Again, if you weren't here last time, I accidentally bought 32 Agatha Christie novels by mistake. So they need a home. I got 2 Alan Watts books for my birthday. They need a home. And I bought a book on archaeology, but specifically focused on the archaeological discoveries themselves, rather than the history of the items, like the story of discovery as history rather than the items. And you could make a bed frame out of the books. I mean, I could. That sounds like a horrifically dangerous setup, but I could if I wanted to. I am drawing this wrong. Hold on. Let me plan this out better. So, like, there's the palm. So that'll be the thumb. Yeah, it's still wrong. I put that there. I want it like that, yes. So I have to push this out like that. Yes, thumbs inward. Just double checking I don't have the thumb on the wrong side. Otherwise I must bring out a reference. Hold on. Let me do that. I usually don't need to use references for hands, but let me get one now. Because clearly I'm struggling. References. Here we go. It wasn't a mistake. It was a happy accident. Yeah. Get a handyman for her bed. Sounds spicy. No, it's the bed frame. Because I really like my bed frame. It's a slightly unusual design. And I'm super sentimental. So I'd rather just get it altered than just buy a new bed frame. Right? That's what's going on there. And I've got a wooden bed frame. So like that's the very uneventful story. Pose. Where's my hands? Here we go. See if I can get the pose I'm looking for. It's a relatively basic pose. Otherwise, I'll check if... you know what? Let me do that first. Maybe Clip Studio Paint has a hand pose for what I'm looking for. Hand... Let's see. I mean, it's got this one. No, it's holding plastic bag. I need fist. Do you have... Here we go. Oh, it's going to bring in a whole model. Ah, oh well. Go over there. Okay, so we'll use the whole model. Let's see if I can get this hand where I need it to be. Come here, come forward. I'm still not sure how to get elbows to do what I want them to in Clip Studio Paint. I don't really use the 3D poser much in Clip Studio Paint. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of what I need. Okay. Amazing Circus wasn't bad, but I don't know why it had so much hype. It's because Gooseworks worked on it, and Gooseworks does really, really cool stuff. I believe it's a she. If not, I apologize. She's done other things which are really cool. And I think that was also a big part of it. And also just the aesthetic in general. It has a lot of design aesthetics which will immediately draw people in. I was watching Iron Mouse watch it. And she wasn't super into it. But she didn't hate it. It just wasn't really her thing. She didn't say so, but you can kind of tell. But the second like the rabbit character came on stream, the second she saw that, she was like, there is going to be so much art of that character. And I'm like, yep, it's already happened. The ragdoll character in, what's it called? The Amazing Digital Circus. She reminds me a lot of this ragdoll character that was in a stop motion cartoon, which I can't remember the name of. But there's a ragdoll character in that, and she looks shockingly similar to her. So I wonder if that was like a design influence or not. But again, it's from the 90s, so maybe I'm just old. I'm remembering things. Because again, like how many ways can you really design a ragdoll character and make it unique? It wasn't like a Raggedy Ann and Andy, it was something else. I personally think from what I hear, Gooseworks has an 8-episode series planned, with no plans for a season 2, and I think I'm glad. Like, it sounds they have a concrete plan. Yeah, that's nice. It's similar to what happened with Gravity Falls, where Gravity Falls ended because Alex Hirsch had a planned ending that he wanted the show to end with. And he wasn't interested in, like, torturing that show well past beyond that point, right? So they had a plan, they stuck to the plan, and that was it basically. Let's see if I can... The Clip Studio Paint like default model has really long palms. I don't know why. Like, that's not the way I would draw a palm, but whatever. I suppose I'm the one who's needing help with the reference, so what do I know, right? Oops, I drew it on the wrong layer. Oh well. I didn't mean to copy and paste. There we go. I'll just alter the arm to fit it better. Oh, and then she looked up a MatPat video on it immediately after. Yeah, I bowed out of the video because, again, I'm not a fan of MatPat's videos. So I'm like, okay, I don't need to see MatPat's, like, weird interpretation of what's going on in the amazing digital circus. But it's really funny that Mouse was like, what the hell did I just watch? And she needed, like, a MatPat video for help. It's really hilarious. There we go. Okay, now I can actually get to the fun parts, which is like the hair and the ears. I gave her human ears, but it's going to be covered with her hair. It's just kind of so that I know where the landmarks of the head are. No, I still want it blue. Make it this color. Raggedy Ann and Andy? Yeah, Raggedy Ann and Andy was a merchandise product in the 70s, I think, 60s and 70s. And they had a movie made in the 80s by Richard Williams, who did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and he did, not The Princess and the Pea, what was it called? The Thief and the Cobbler. And he did a full movie of the Raggedy Ann and Andy, and it's pure nightmare fuel, and I highly recommend it. Live streaming is deaf, each to their own. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I enjoy watching VTubers, but I don't watch VTubers in live stream form. I prefer watching clips on YouTube. Mostly because I like watching things while I'm doing other things, usually drawing or things like that. So I like being able to pause and like rewind if I miss what the person is saying and things like that. And obviously you can't really do that with a live stream. Also, Twitch just kind of works very weird for me. I don't know if it's my country's internet infrastructure, but I find Twitch to be very buggy. And it's just kind of a pain to deal with. Also, I don't know what it is with Twitch's audio. It's so much softer than every other website. And it's annoying. So I prefer to watch VTubers on YouTube, just short clips. CPUF drawing skills are amazing. I can barely draw in similar life. Oh, thank you. But I have, don't feel too bad because like I have professional training and I've been drawing for basically my entire life. So, and I am absolutely 100% not one of those artists who just came out and drew amazing first thing. Like, I am not one of those people. I was told I was when I was a teenager, but comparatively speaking, if I just compare like my art style and art quality from when I was a teenager and now compared to like what some teenagers are putting out, and even like people in their early 20s who like, they get like almost instant careers in the animation industry, and you just see like the quality level of their art, and it's like, oh yeah, no, you know, stay humble. And it's just so much better. Well, I don't want to say better. It is so much higher in skill level than what I'm able to produce. So, you know, again, I had a point, but I forget what it was. Older than that, Raggedy Ann was originally made in the 1910s. Oh, okay. I'm probably thinking 60s and 70s because I'm thinking of the movie that Richard Williams made. Make this darker. What is her hairstyle? I know it's like a bob. Oh, it's just kind of a piece of lettuce on her head. Okay. I joined a few VTubers and live streams and like same. Yeah, like I don't know. But like the only VTuber I watch live stream is their VTuber name is Zeke Marigold, and they go by Klemps on YouTube. That's like the only VTuber who I watch in live stream format. The others I just watch clips, it's fine. New undersea cables around Africa to improve CPUF internet. My internet isn't that bad. It's probably far slower than what people in like America are used to, but it's not like terrible at all. Like I've got a 10 megabyte per second line. It's fine. And I'm on fiber and things like that. Oopsie. Yeah, it's basically just a piece of lettuce. Okay, so she doesn't have a middle part. She has like a fringe here that looks like this. That's in two pieces. And then she's got like the big fluffy hair here. Like this. And then she's got like big fluffy hair like this. Almost like a bowl cut. Kinda like that. And then we'll give it like some fluff sticking out and stuff to make it cute. Okay. I know what you mean. I have many common mutuals who are way younger than me, who are so talented and getting animation jobs right as soon as they're like 21. It's incredible. Yeah, like I always think of Kiana, who is, I think she's like working as a director now at Disney's television department or Nickelodeon's television department, something like that. And I think Kiana is like 23. And she's a director. That's insane. But then you look at her art and you're like, oh no, that makes sense. And apparently she said in a Q&A a while ago that apparently she graduated high school when she was like 15 or something. So she's just one of those people where she's like highly skilled at what she puts her mind to. Her ears kind of sit on top of her hair. Yeah. Well, here, it's these little triangles here. I kind of want to do this. I want to give her like the big, like Little Mermaid Ariel super fringe. Like this. No, I don't want that mini. Parted like that. There we go. Who created Nyan Neko Sugar Girls anyway, and why? What do you mean why? They made it because it's the greatest anime ever. But I believe her name is Soap Opera. Let me check. Let me check for her like full name. Yeah, Soap Opera 46. That's her name. And the thing is, she made Nyan Neko Sugar Girls, I forget how long ago, but when Nyan Neko Sugar Girls came out, it is a shockingly accurate portrayal of what like the anime fandom scene was like on DeviantArt at the time. Like, it is so accurate to what a lot of the art in DeviantArt was back in the early 2000s, including my own. Like, just like the level of teenage weeb that was in everything, and like that lol random humor. Like, Nyan Neko Sugar Girls is not that far off a parody of what things were actually like. I think that's why I like it so much, because it's like, oh no, that's exactly what it was like. Yes, you're correct. Here we go. Actually, let me do this. And just do this side as well. There we go, then we can... I'm gonna pull her ears up a little bit. Did I only put ears on this, or did I put hands as well? No, it's just ears. Okay, so I can pull them up. Kiana Mai, yes. Also, CPUF, have you ever murdered drones by... Have you ever seen Murder Drones by Glitch Productions? It's popular, but never seemed all encompassing popular like other online series. Actually, no, I haven't. I'm not super familiar with it. There's some online things in in terms of like modern animated stuff that I'm familiar with, but a lot of it kind of flies over my head. Not because of any quality or anything, it's just I miss things a lot. I'm always up like in my own little space. She doesn't quite look like the typical cat girls I see in some anime. No, Raku-chan... Well, I mean, ignoring the obvious, she does kind of like unironically has kind of a unique design to her. Like, when I see a drawing of Raku-chan, even if it's not in the Nyan Neko Sugar Girls art style, you can, like, recognize that it's Raku-chan. Like, it is almost impossible to look at a drawing of Raku-chan, regardless of the art style, and not recognize who she is. Like, look at this. I'm just scrolling through Google here. Like, you can immediately tell, oh, hey, that's Raku-chan. Right? Any currently airing anime you are watching? I want to start watching Dungeon Meshi, and there is an anime called Blue Period which caught my attention. I kind of want to watch that, and I think there's a few, I just can't remember them right now, but I do know there's more than one. Raku-chan is in Danganronpa. Would she like what? I don't know enough about Danganronpa to really ask, but it's like, where would she place? Would she be one of the very first victims? Would she survive all the way until the end? Or would she be like a mastermind who's behind it all? I almost feel like she wouldn't be behind it all because she's kind of too stupid for that. But she would be the one that, like, for some reason makes it all the way until the end. And, like, nobody can figure out why. She would kill for Hitoshi-san. Good point. Do it because my hand, flip it because my hand bends easier this way. Somebody was asking in the comment section of the new, when the next video for My Adventures with Superman will go up. I am recording the audio tomorrow. I wanted to record the audio today, but I figured recording audio and then live streaming for like 3 or 4 hours might not be a very good idea, especially if my throat gets rather sore, because I speak a little bit louder when I'm on mic, just so that I'm quite clear and I'm not mumbling and stuff like that. So I want to do the audio tomorrow, and then I'll go to editing. I have no idea how long it's going to be. I'm actually terrified of the length of this part, just because I have so much to say. My friend was joking. She's like, remember when you weren't sure about doing this series because you thought you wouldn't have enough to talk about? And here we are. Been meaning to watch the Elf one that's been all over Twitter. Oh yes, my chat, I think last time or the time before that, were telling me to watch that one as well. As well as my friend. She was also like, you gotta watch this one. So I need to watch that as well. Actually, I'm gonna merge this with the one below. And make a new layer for the clothes. So it's just like a regular t-shirt. There we go. Patrick Williams has a great vid about modern cinema. Oh, is it new? Because I like his stuff. I just haven't checked his channel in a while. I'm gonna give her like short sleeves. I'm not going to give her like the full t-shirt sleeves because I don't think that's conducive to her art style. Doesn't strike me as something that Raku-chan would wear. So how many layers do you end up with on the end of a drawing project on average, would you say? Well, I can open up one of my old files and we can check. It depends what I'm doing, but I tend not to be overly crazy with layers. Working folders. Let's open one of the comics I did recently. I don't want to open the one I'm currently working on because it's not finished. Is it this one that everybody liked? There was one that people were really into. I think it's this one. Yes, loading file. I know it's big. Oh dear. Clip Studio Paint buffering. Come on, I know it's a big folder, but you can do it. There we go. So here, okay, I have a lot of copies, so let's see. I'm not sure. I thought I could just look at the number, but because I copy a lot of folders, a lot of layers, it's a little bit more than I would think. Because there's like layer 17 and then there's like 7 copies of it. But yeah, it's not that many. I think maybe pushing 20 at most. It's around 20, I would say. And this is a comic, so there's a lot with 3 characters. So there's a lot going on here, including speech bubbles and background and things like that. But yeah, I would say about 20 or so. Oh, save. If you're also drawing, remember to save your work. I always forget. Raku-chan, which folder is this?